the League of Barons Week 4. We have, for your viewing pleasure tonight, myself, Joel Killingsworth, in the role of commentator, joined by Charlie Hicks. How are you doing, Charlie?
Doing well. How are you doing, Joel? We surviving another fantastic week of quarantine?
Yes, by myself in my house. I bought a new desk chair that I am enjoying tonight for the first evening, so that's pretty exciting. We're also joined, as always, by the immaculate Stephen Ford.
Oh, I'm immaculate tonight, huh? Well, thank you. Hello, hello.
And he's going to take a step back from his normal aggressive commentary to watch the stream chat and be our cameraman for the evening.
Why is doing this? Hold on. There we go. Maybe. Where's the button?
So this is new, but it looks like they're getting it handled. So we have playing tonight on playing Scum, we have Ezekiel McBrayer, and also playing Scum, we have Gonzalo Herrero Munoz. So, I butchered that. Which I should have stopped at Herrero.
AKA Gonzo for all the locals.
Yes.
And Ezekiel, AKA Zeke.
So as we said, this is week 4 of the League of Barons, our sort of local online X-Wing league in exile, and we have both of these players are really playing lists true to form. Looking back over the last few weeks, Zeke has been iterating several different versions of Scum Salad. Week 1, we saw 4 ships with Jumpmaster in there. Week 2, we saw 3 Trandoshan Slavers. Week 3, we saw double fire sprays. So we see here a continuation on a trend, just exploring different options in the Scum faction. With Gonzo, he has run the same list every week, which is the list that he's running tonight. How about you take away looking at some of the particulars, Charlie?
Absolutely. I mean, he's keeping it pretty pure, learning to do one thing and do it really well. So we've got Fenn Rao with Fearless. You've got a Skull Squadron pilot, and then 2 Zealous recruits. So really just taking advantage of the chassis ability on those Fang fighters. You've got the Skull that kind of operates sort of as a pocket ace if it's looking at certain situations against a lot of generics. And then, of course, Fenn Rao is just Fenn Rao. He's going to do what he does, and it's terrifying.
Absolutely. Looking across the table from him, we've of course got Boba Fett, who's definitely a known quantity in this meta, with Maul Crew and Slave One, which are pretty much stapled to the card. Then you have Proximity Mines and Composure. That Composure lets him go ahead and take the boost in to make sure he gets range 1. And even if it's not good, like he gets blocked on the boost, then he can still pick up a focus to help with his modification.
I'm not. I'm really curious about that. Composure's 2 points. Is that correct?
Should be 1. Let me double check.
Okay.
It used to be 2. I believe they moved it back down to 1 because it's kind of a pointless card at times.
For the most part, it doesn't have. They removed in this latest update. They removed the ability to abuse it. They gave it the advanced sensors treatment, if you will, where you're not allowed to take any additional actions that turn.
That makes sense. I'm guessing in this situation that probably since it can't pick up Fearless, that just looking at a situation where he can still get a little utility out of his talent.
Yeah. Now, looking at the points on the list, yeah, it looks like he had a single point left over and threw Composure in there.
Yeah, I could think of worse ones to put on there for a point.
Moving on to the 2 Kimagillas, they're just straight grade A beef. 9 hit points, very difficult to take down. Well, not difficult because they've only got 1 agility, but they take a lot of chewing, which gives Boba the time he needs to get in the best position and whittle down the opponent so that by the time that you can turn and focus all your attention on Boba, it's already too late. You don't have enough firepower left to take him out.
Yeah, I like the interaction between Tarani Kulda and Crackshot here. That's just devastating.
It's kind of a going all in on the bullseye mechanic, where if you catch
Absolutely.
something in bullseye, then it's going to really pay.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a lot of very interesting mechanics where they've played around with cluster missiles and some of the other things to make Kulda just kind of a spike his damage output. But this is a very interesting look that they've uh, got going on, and it's still, I mean, it takes full advantage of that. Uh, just you definitely don't want to get caught in that bullseye. Just bad things are going to happen.
Looking at the way this is set up, we've got Gonzo's 3 generic fangs set up in sort of a block here in the corner, and then Fenrau set up at a 45-degree angle in the opposite corner, which is a fairly standard. You've got kind of your jousters and your ace separated to try to create a pincer early on. But with the way that Zeke has all of his ships spread out, it looks like he's looking to come up the middle, which actually plays right into a pincer sort of position. So we'll see if Gonzo's able to take advantage of that, and maybe if Zeke has a trick or two up his sleeve over the first few turns.
Yeah, and this is where that boost on a medium base chassis can really make or break that first engagement because especially if you're trying to time everything together between one flank over here and then your main force converging on a target at the same time, uh, boosting in and just changing the distance dynamic on that first engagement can really mess with that plan.
I really, really enjoy the boost native on the fire spray chassis. It really changes how the ship feels, makes it feel very fast and nimble, and you get an awful lot of options. And those options are really magnified with Boba Fett's Initiative 5, and even further with Slave 1 to be able to reactively change the direction in which you're turning, which is, of course, one of the larger reasons why it's being played. That and just the insane action economy of Boba's native rerolls and Maul, who has functionally unlimited force pool if you're willing to beat permastress.
Right. Yeah, let's also, I mean, talking about Slave One, one of the things that's going to be real impactful is you see this no man's land in between their two lists, right in between these fairly straight lines of obstacles, and that's a lot of room to move. So you start getting into where the engagement probably is happening somewhere in between those. Uh, then Boba's got a lot of information that he can use to leverage Slave One to great effect.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially in this first few turns when he's got this huge jousting block of fangs coming down the bottom side of the board, and the first target in their way could be Boba, right? Because
Right.
he's sitting in this corner. Now Boba has the option to just jet on up to the top side of the board and tango with Fen Rao, but if he turns in here, he's going to have 1 or 2 turns opportunity to dangle himself in front of these recruits in the Skull Squatty and hopefully find a path out that pulls them into a bad position.
All right, so let me ask you what when you're looking at Gonzo, where he's set up and what his list does, what does he need to do to take away the win here?
Well, he needs to be very careful of committing too hard onto Boba Fett because, like we've been saying, he's got high initiative, he's got that boost, he's got Slave One. So if you rush up on him too quickly, then he can easily get away from you and you just lose that shot. And so if you're not also positioning to gain shots on the chemos, then you've just lost the firepower from that ship that turn, right? So
Right.
I think what he probably needs to do is to come up kind of semi-aggressively, medium speed maneuvers with the generics here, and be really cagey with Finn Rao the first couple of turns, wait to see where Zeke is going to commit his forces. And then he wants to pounce on where the chemos are and where Boba might be, so that even if he loses Boba, he can go ahead and punish the chemos.
Sounds like a good strategy.
But ultimately, the fight looks like it's going to happen in the center of the board, this big open space between clouds. And so I would probably want to bring Finn Rao on up with a bank toward the top edge of the board and just sort of dangle out here outside of that debris field and wait and see if that bait keels the executioner and Tirani out of the clouds. And if that's the case, just zoom on past them and try to let the generics deal with Boba.
It sounds like a good strategy there. So looks like we're just getting started over here. And looks like he's taking it pretty easy with these zealous recruits coming in 2 straight.
And now I would jump in here. John in the chat also made the point that Concordia, with the changes in second edition, won't trigger on Boba's back arc. So that's another advantage to dangling him across the front. You can kind of squirt by and maybe get your range 1 bonus and turn their major defensive bonus at range 1 off in the process.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. That plus the mines is definitely something to keep an eye on where Boba's rear arc is pointed.
We've got a minor faux pas over here. Zeke's playing some dirty pool, looks like.
Oh, Judge!
Got him.
Looks like he's coming up nice and slow, non-committal on both sides.
I myself was surprised to see a 1 straight from a medium pace.
Don't lie, Charlie. Don't lie.
It's either a 1 straight or a 3 bank every time.
It's only because they don't have the 3 hard.
True.
All right, looks like maybe a little bit more work on that opening needs to be done in order to. But I like the idea of pulling Tirani in right behind the cartel executioner. You can see it bump here, but with just a little bit of extra spacing, it would have been fine.
Yep.
I like that
Absolutely.
Tirani also stole the executioner's color marker in the process. Tabletop simulator, how do you work?
Nice. So Tirani is currently yellow and so it looks like he chose to bring Boba on up toward the middle of his side rather than turn in to face the approaching block of generic fangs. So he's definitely not looking to dangle as much as wait and see.
Right.
And it's also possible that he's looking for an opportunity to just catch and kill Fenn Rau before the other fangs get into the fight. That would put him very much ahead.
That's true. I mean, because this turn right here, he could very easily, and it depends on where Finn's going to be, but these Kimagillas can do like a 1 bank and a 1 straight and basically keep a pretty wide net. Boba can do a 4 straight and boost, and he's ready to go next turn.
Looks like a 2 straight out of Fenn Rau. Coming in non-committal, can still go either way. Takes the barrel roll toward his own end of the board. Still very much in a wait-and-see mode from both players.
And this is the evolution of Gonzo's playstyle. He's a fairly aggressive player. He does like to jump in, close the distance, and everything like that. He's developed a lot of a nuanced approach to playing these aces. It's been really interesting to watch and to play against because he's gotten a lot more canny with this playstyle.
And we see the players turn over the round counter, indicating they are in the planning phase of round 3. 2.
Round 2. You tried.
I tried.
So speaking of round counters, how many times have you forgotten to turn around?
It's been a couple of times, but we've always gone back and found it within that turn. I have found just like when you call out phases, because say you have a bomb and that makes you call out the system phase for the entire game, even when you have no intention of using the bomb. It's very similar. It's end of round, clean up, flip, round counter, moving on to round, and then I try to say the number of the round, just kind of as a sort of ritual to try to prevent myself from forgetting.
Absolutely. And speaking of forgetting, it looks like Lauren's dragging you in the chat saying that you were supposed to be the one that's good at math. Lauren, it's nobody knows how many days it's been since quarantine. Math is getting a little bit.
No.
It's a little
No. See, I am good at math. What I'm not good at is count.
This sounds like a semantical trap. I'm not going to take it.
Robots like zeros and ones. They don't like 2, 3, and 4.
Is that like robots like one hard and two hard and don't like one bank and two bank?
Apparently.
Could be. I don't get the reference.
Droids.
Oh yes. I see now. Speaking of medium base, I noticed just now, it took me that long since Boba has drifted next to the Kimagillas to comment on the fact that this is a list of entirely medium bases. And that actually is something of an advantage when you kind of get into the mindset of picturing where your ships are going to go. You can use this same, algorithm, if you will, for all of your ships if they all have the same base size.
Right. You lose that lost in translation moment where you've got small bases and then a medium base or medium base and large base. Because always like if you had small bases and large bases, you could kind of distill that down to a 2-to-1 type thing between the large base and the small base. But medium bases get weird, and it gets doubly weird when you are playing in Tabletop Simulator or any other facsimile for the real thing.
I think what you all are trying to say is that Zeke likes medium-based magic so much, he made it his whole list.
What I'm trying to say is Zeke likes Scum, and there's a lot of medium bases in Scum.
No, that is a true statement.
Indeed. I only make true statements.
I don't know about that one.
As I proceed to tilt Stephen with more and more controversy.
So out of both players, we continue to see this non-committal drifting into combat approach. Though we're coming up on the third turn, people are going to have to start making decisions for sure.
Yeah, this is going to be really pivotal to see if Boba does a one bank in and
you were right. It's the 3-bank. You were right. 1 straight or 3-bank.
It works every time, except that time it didn't work.
Except that time. Yeah.
Yes.
Which could have been due to the. Oh, here we go. So the beginning of Zeke's inevitable demise right here. Which I'm wondering if that 3-bank from Tirani would have fit if he had completed his turn from the previous round, since he was a little bit off the 90-degree mark.
That is a good question.
And then Tirani not completing that 3-bank is, of course, the reason Boba bumped, which he would have been fine otherwise.
Right. I mean, and we should stress that this is not a problem whatsoever. Like he can very easily shoot the gap right here, have weapons bare, ready to go. So it's basically just trying to make it TV pretty.
Yeah, no, he has. There's not going to be any combat this round, most likely. He's certainly not giving up any advantage this turn with that chain of bumps. What he has done is he has made the entire top edge of the board inhospitable for Fenn Rau. If he commits to going up there to try to keep the flank, he risks a lot of fire in the coming turn.
Yeah. You know what Fenn Rau doesn't want to see?
A lot of guns.
Tirani Kolda with the crack shot.
Anything at range 2?
Which, because right behind that cartel executioner, yeah, that's a pretty safe bet.
Yeah.
So I would really expect this this main force of Gonzos just to roll up as hard as possible, get those two hards and boosts, and come in ready to fight. Because I'm pretty sure with Zeke stacked the box right here, he is thinking about just threatening. And if Gonzo is trying to get in there for some range one action, I mean, this could be a great opportunity to punish Finn.
Yeah. So there's a couple of interesting choices to be made here, because if Zeke overcommits to threatening the top edge of the board and Finn shoots out, down towards the generics, then the generics come up and they end up behind Zeke's force, and that's really bad for Zeke. But if he commits too hard on facing the oncoming generics, then Finn has the opportunity to slip onto that flank that he really wants. So there's a little bit of will you, won't you guessing going on this particular round.
So I would not be surprised to see the executioner just take a nice leisurely one straight up here to kind of plug that gap and really threaten, put the pressure on. You might see Tarani do a one straight also. That angle gives just enough juice to be able to threaten right off of this debris over here. I think a one bank towards the right is probably, like you said, it's going to be too much of a overcommitment and could put him in jeopardy. But I mean, from here, Boba just does one bank. It's fine. That's nice. It leaves him wide open for the next turn to do whatever.
Yeah, he will probably take some range 3 fire from the fangs coming up the flank. But when the fight really gets tough, he'll be able to turn into them and really try to bring heat. I think from Gonzo's side, he, as you said earlier, definitely wants to be getting those generics up in there as fast as possible. Uh, all right, so he's looking to really grab the flank with that coming around, and not looking afraid. I think he's probably thinking that the Kimagillas are coming into the open space instead of continuing to pursue Finn Rao. So we are seeing some evasive behavior from his fangs, so we might actually see a turn away from Finn here later in the turn as well.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that one. That seemed like a good opportunity to get some free paint. I just don't think that Zeke's coming in to engage this block.
And that's also some of the disadvantage of having ships so low in the initiative order, especially if they're coming in a block like this. You're really identifying your strategy for the turn as soon as they.
I mean, that also another thing too, because if Zeke keeps his formation just stack the box like it is right there, all of a sudden these zealous recruits become devastating because he's got a very threatening chance of throwing a block, and none of these ships particularly want to have that happen.
Well, Fett isn't really doesn't really have a problem with getting blocked as long as he's close to the thing blocking him. But if he's two ships back from the thing that started the blockchain, that's not as fun. But yeah, we see Zeke committing to the Fenn Rao threat, coming up with a 2 straight out of the Executioner. Maybe that's to make room for Tarani's move.
Yeah, that could be that. That could also tip the hat that Tarani might be doing a one bank instead of a one straight, but to the left.
Looks like the orange recruit down here for Gonzo attempted a boost, but was just barely nudged to not straight and finally ran out of space to sit beside the blue one.
He has given his zealous recruit panic pilot for free, and he will go ahead and distribute the stress evenly, like a true socialist.
And coming around with the boost. So he's definitely setting up for a really hard flank with these generics. So I think we're definitely going to be seeing Finrao attempting to evade rather than come in.
Yeah,
So
that was pretty fast.
Yeah, that 2 bank out of Tirani, leaving him bumped.
That's enough real estate for Boba Fett to clear, though.
So there definitely, it looks like he anticipates Finrao turning back toward Gonzo's edge of the board to try to get away, which is what we see happening with a 1 hard. So I expect him to find a focus boost in his future to try to slip the net.
Yeah, that's a pretty good idea. Oh,
Now the question, of course, is does the boost put him in bullseye? Because he's not in bullseye currently. But if he takes that banked boost, he may or may not be in bullseye, but he will be getting the cloud.
So yeah, a good boost here gets him that obstruction bonus, which is probably totally worth it.
well, it looks like a moot point that he's taken the focus without any reposition. So,
Looks like he's barrel rolling for range.
All right.
That definitely puts him out of range of Tirani, and Boba might nab a range 3 shot off of the Cartel Executioner.
Right.
Now, the real danger here, of course, is for next turn. And where is he going to end up that doesn't get him cornered and killed?
I don't hate the idea of him doing a 2 hard and trying to hug that cloud and make a decision based off of that. But that's still, it's very risky.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that cloud is his greatest asset.
And the real problem here is that his friends are just too far away. That cloud is problematic. He's 2 turns away from threatening the flank on Zeke. So this is going to be a couple of turns where where Finn's just going to get hunted.
So it looks like we are indeed seeing the range 3 shot from the Cartel Executioner into Finrao. 3 dice into 4. Focus on each side. No bullseye from the Kimagilla, so all mods applied as normal.
One crit.
2 blanks and a crit. Should be easy for Finrao to defeat, but the dice are the dice. And a single evade will keep him safe.
Okay, so we pretty much have identified the cat and mouse that's about to happen this next turn. So what does Gonzo need to do to trim up the times, to shorten? And the thing that I'm looking at here is that with him being stressed, I mean, obviously you're looking at the 2 hard. It's going to be a pretty good move for this lead Zealous recruit. Maybe not so much for this other one, but I think you still probably dial into 2 hard anyways, just to go ahead and get the reposition
With the orange?
with orange. I mean, you could do a 2 bank, but like
I think the problem with that 2 hard is that you end up going over the cloud twice.
you might.
That would be really bad.
You could hang on stress.
1 hard, but don't you still end up? I think you still end up going over the crucial turn is not what happens this turn, but what happens in the following turn, because that's when you're going to get into the really close range stuff, and you really want your mod.
Right.
So I think you've got to plot a path with that orange one that does not clip a cloud. Not this coming turn, but the one after that. And I don't think any of the turns do that except maybe the 3 hard. Which that 3 hard would be fine, but I think probably what we're going to see out of him is going to be more like a 2 straight or a 2 bang.
Right. And that's just another turn out of engagement. And that's, I don't know. I think at this point you're looking at time as a function of what you can do to take the heat off of Finn.
Absolutely. But yeah, I think this blue zealot is absolutely going to 2 hard be able to focus boost in between the gas clouds We'll probably see a 2-bank out of the green skull, maybe a 2 straight if he doesn't think that that's going to fit around the cloud. So he's probably not going to get a shot this turn unless he clips it nice and close. And it all depends on what he tries to do with that orange zealous recruit, because he's going to move before the skull does.
True.
Meanwhile, he's got to figure out what to do with Fen Rao that doesn't just get him killed.
Right.
He's basically got 2 options, and that's the 2 hard and the 2 bank. I suppose he might try the 2 straight into a boost just to get that extra range.
Right.
But I think I like that 2 hard in towards the cloud, and then you have options to try to put the cloud in between you and all the ships.
Right. Because then you could barrel roll back to fully hug the cloud if you want. If for whatever reason it looks like they turned into the Zealous recruits, which I can't imagine that Zeke would do, you can very easily get aggressive off of that move. So he does have a couple of options with that. And then obviously barrel rolling in, you then have a situation where you can potentially go the other way and try to rope a dope these guys. Now it's going to be really interesting with because I'm sure that Zeke is already computing a lot of this because he's a pretty avid scum player himself. So are you just trying to look at all the contingencies here and maybe do a 1 bank with this executioner to the right to possibly look at the escape cutoff, and then do maybe a 2 straight with Colda, and then follow that up with a 1 bank with that to just kind of just hedge your bets, or do you go all in?
I almost feel like because of the presence of that cloud, you go all in with the executioner and just chuck him straight over that cloud.
No. Go get angry, 3 bank him in, and then barrel roll and block Fenn's 2 hard.
Oh, rude.
Ooh.
Have they got that barrel roll?
They
They
have
have
a
got
red
that
barrel.
barrel roll.
It's a red roll, but they can do it.
Because looking at his template too on that lead one, I don't know if it can go fast enough to clear the cloud, but it might not actually overlap the cloud.
Okay, so Zealous Blue is going to be in a good spot to do some shooting, more than likely.
Like the 2 straight.
We look at the patented 5 reverse from the Zealous recruit. Not many people know about that. The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural.
This was the plan the entire time.
Oh.
Oh no.
So it looks like Zeke opted for the rewind time maneuver.
Yeah.
Which of the Infinity Stones is that? Is that the green one?
So it looks like it left the Fang in the same place, and it accomplished unlinking all the dials.
Technical difficulties here.
One of the exciting things about TTS, you get to find some new and spicy errors. Like most of the time, the game is smarter than the players that are playing it, but sometimes it goes a little bit sideways.
So, for those of you watching at home, the easiest solution to this situation, what happened was Gonzo hit the undo button on the dial for the orange Fang on mistake. And the easiest thing to do there is simply to take the dial in a 5 straight again, and then execute it. And then dial in whatever it was that you were supposed to have, which in this case is a 2 straight, and then do that as well in sequence. The built-in rewind time function on it interacts with the file scripts and sometimes breaks them irrevocably.
Yeah, I had a similar error happen to me this past week, so that was very fun.
So when the dial breaks irrevocably, because as we're seeing here, they are able to reassign their dials and everything seems to be working. correctly. We haven't seen them try to execute maneuvers yet, but everything's looking fine. What did you have to do when it didn't work out fine?
Well, that's the time when you go up to the spawner and go ahead and get a fresh copy of your list, and you can reassign extra dials. So, and that's a lot of the game's etiquette is still kind of evolving as more and more people get into this. So that's becoming kind of a best practices thing, where it's like you start playing in some of these events. Go ahead and spawn 2 copies of your list. Because you're not generally using the other table for everything. And you can kind of see that over here. So we've got Zeke's got a fresh duplicate set over here ready to go just in case a ship gets deleted, because that's a thing that can happen. So it's a learning curve for everybody. And it's nice because when I first played this back in 2017, it was dreadful. I did not enjoy it. I got so tilted on the tabletop simulator experience that I didn't do it for another 2 years. But they've done a lot of good work with this, and like I said, generally, the game is smarter than most of the people that are playing it.
So there we see the situation resolved, the 2 straight done. Now what we do see is the Skull Squad and Fen Rao dials right now unset. So that could be an issue here in a minute when more than just the initiative ones have moved.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, I'm gonna go over and talk to him.
It's okay. He's an I6. He can do what he wants, whatever he wants.
Right? Let me just see where you move, and then we'll reset my dial real quick.
Yeah.
All about leveraging that advantage.
So, Stephen, have you fancied or ventured down the exciting path of cutting your own hair?
I have not. That is not something that's going to happen. I am not that brave.
It's easy. Just believe in
Get
yourself.
roll?
Yeah, it's great.
Or
Grip.
trimmers, put the 5 guard on there.
Yeah, just grip it and rip it, man.
No, I actually we did the engagement photos today, so
Was
I'll
that
just
the
have to
one
look.
where her cat was mean mugging y'all behind the curtain?
That was right before we left. Yes.
Nice.
All right. Looks like Joel's getting them sorted out, so hopefully it's not.
Yeah,
too big
they're sorted out. So at least now the only dials that have been revealed before anybody had an opportunity to change things was the I1.
We did it. See, we're all in this together, everyone.
Save the rebellion.
Oh, here we go.
He's hit a cloud. That'll cost him 2 strokes.
Now, he did come in with the softest possible maneuver in this direction with a 1 bank. And his nubs are outside the clouds, so the following turn he is not committed to losing his action.
And that was a blank on the roll, so he is safe.
Oh, no consequences.
Yeah, it's fine.
So it looks like he's definitely expecting the long burn from Fen Rao here. So if Gonzo does do the 2 hard, he has the opportunity to potentially focus and barrel roll out of danger entirely.
Absolutely. Now, I'm really interested in seeing how Tarani's going to move, because I'm not sure if Tarani did 1 straight, if that actually will clear or if that's going to bump.
Tarani has not had a great track record of leaving the cartel executioner to himself this game.
True.
I think Tarani is very enamored with the cartel executioner and wishes to occupy the same space at all times.
He's the ultimate backseat driver.
Well, when 2 cartel executioners really like each other, they go off and make sure they have enough points, and then they'll create a little Sikh fighter.
But it's not allowed to use green token.
That's correct.
Yeah. They're strict disciplinarians that way. So we do see the 2 straight boost come out of the Skull Squadron. So he is likely not going to get a shot this turn, but is in excellent position to come around and be a part of the fight next turn. Tirani breaking the mold, coming in with a 2 hard to threaten the incoming recruits.
Now this is going to be interesting because that could potentially signal that Boba might be following suit.
That's true. Also of significance, it looks like Tirani has nabbed Bullseye on the Orange Zealous recruit, which is fairly bad news for him. Now, he is generally speaking safe from the shot in because of the cloud. Oh, looks like he decides he doesn't want that bullseye and rolls to get a better shot on the other. So now it looks like he does not have bullseye on any target, which he might have been hoping to grab bullseye on the blue zealous recruit.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I thought that he would have had bullseye in that situation. So,
That
I mean,
barrel roll also costs Boba Fett his action.
Yeah, I tell you. I mean, even though all you're flying in this list is medium bases, they can still betray you, and
They
we're
can.
still playing in a weird format. So,
Yeah,
it gets wild.
looking at the digital board, it's definitely more difficult to predict where things are going to end up if you're not as used to it as playing in person. Oh, coming out with a hard turn away, trying to juke off his pursuers, which he definitely does, as they have given up the chase.
Okay.
So what we see
probably
here,
going to look to see a barrel roll coming up to
yeah,
live.
he wants to have lots of options next turn for his maneuver. But then the barrel roll puts him even closer to the other board edge, which he's going to have to turn towards. So
Yeah, but you can talent out of that.
that's certainly true.
But still, I mean, we were all surprised, obviously, and so that was kind of the idea. But you can also see the genius with this is that you have all these ships lined up to threaten Fenn Rau. And so, what if you don't? That's also a great opportunity to then go into the meat of Gonzo's list, which is what's happening in this situation.
Yep, and the opening salvo coming from Boba Fett, range 2 into the Blue Zealous recruit. That is, of course, the least optimal range band for these fangs to be taking fire. No extra mods for Boba Fett, so 2 hits.
Don't need.
Blocked
Natties,
with
baby.
3 natural evade. Doesn't even have to spend his focus.
He didn't even have to use his AK. Got to say, it was a good day.
Now, I think coming back to Fenn Rau's maneuver here, I think what he's done here is he's made the same mistake that he did with the generic fangs, in that Fenn Rau is now at least 2 turns from getting into combat, and he's engaging with his other flank, where you optimally want both flanks to be engaging simultaneously.
Right. And now what we can also talk about is in the beginning when we were talking about how this cartel executioner is positioned, he's not going to suffer any cloud effects when he turns into the rest of that list.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got some damage coming in.
So that was the Skull Squadron firing at Tirani range 3, which he did get shot there because Tirani barrel rolled back into arc.
Win. That's not exactly the prize that he was hoping to win, but that's what happens.
So resulting in 1 shield. Tirani's shot, looking at his large selection of options. Looks like he's taking the range 1 into the Blue Zealous Recruit. Does not have Bullseye, so the Zealous Recruit is going to get to add his evade and use his focus for defense. So Tirani merely hoping that the weight of 4 dice will be enough to punch damage through.
And I can certainly attest to how frustrating it is to tackle these Fang fighters at range 1. And it's only a more uphill battle when you have less mods. So
Yeah.
we'll see how it goes.
Roll to
Of course,
hit.
it also
crit.
helps if they blank.
Oh yes, looks like the crit's going to go through, even with the Concordia face-off maneuver adding an evade. There's
So let's see
no
what
way that he can get away from that crit. Looks like the players are talking about the dice mod situation at the moment. There we are with Concordia face-off being applied. Let's see if the... There we go. Remembering to shuffle before pulling damage. And everyone holds their breath to find out what the crit is. It is Loose Stabilizer.
Ooh. It's a rough one to have on Fangs.
This early in that ship's life, it's not that big of a deal. He can go ahead and just take the extra damage on a turn, which will automatically repair the crit, and go about his day, having given up half points, but he's a sacrificial lamb anyway.
That's fair.
But I think that one doesn't really restrict the options for this Fang in this particular situation.
Of course, he does get Sweet Revenge, potentially. Oh, yes, he does. That's a pretty good roll.
Very sweet revenge. One evade, but hardly enough to save Tirani from 2 crits to the hull.
I think he forgot to flip a previous damage. So, yep, here come 2 crits. Disable power rank. Sorry.
Nah, you go.
You can announce this one.
And weapons failure. That one is very important. Now, Tirani does have contraband cybernetics on board, so he could even, if he wants to, take a red maneuver this next turn and still be able to flip down the weapons failure.
Right. But that does leave them in a fairly predictable place. Because, I mean, you would assume that in this situation, that you would go ahead and try to get that reposition because you definitely don't want to do any kind of maneuver and just be left drifting. So
Yeah, typically you're gonna that contraband cybernetics is there for that turn where you don't have any good options except for the impossible ones, and that makes the impossible possible.
absolutely.
But Tirani is coming close to half points here and has really yet to do any meaningful damage to the Fang.
Right, and this is going to be very tricky as well because with these fangs coming around now, you might catch the block on this skull squad, but you're not going to catch the squad on this second zealous recruit because you imagine that they're probably doing a 1 hard right here, and they're going to have the money shot. They don't have to reposition or anything like that. They're good to go. Now the skull, I mean, you could see them doing it too hard, possibly. You could see them doing it too bank, just to get a good couple of options. So there's a couple of things that you could do to disrupt that. Like if you were just strictly trying to do the reposition game, and then with this other the blue zealous recruit, like we said, I mean, it's probably in his best interest to go ahead and accept that damage for the loose stabilizer. Uh, you could very easily be in a position where you would be threatening this cartel executioner because you can catch its flank very easily. Um, I'm assuming that to give Boba Fett room to move, that you're going to have to get Tirani out of the way. So that does kind of lead to the assumption that we're probably going to see contraband go this turn.
Now, do the two of you feel that extra spice that Gonzo got into Tirani there, does that kind of alleviate Finn's positioning? Because he's probably 2 turns away from getting a shot here.
I mean,
Finn's positioning is a big problem, I think, because like that's really his major damage dealer. And he's got a couple of turns here where Zeke's forces are still kind of a little too close together and getting a lot of bumps that he doesn't want. He really wants those focus tokens to really juice up his shots. And those are the turns to really take advantage and push through and get a lead early in the game here. Because there's so much health in this list that you really have to make every round count when you're punching into them. So that is to say, I think it was definitely a very fortunate turn for Gonzo, but I'm not sure that it's going to be enough without another fortunate turn or two.
Right. And I mean, you could very easily have that in this situation because I mean, Tarani's not that. I mean, Tarani doesn't have a whole lot of great choices. I mean, like we said, you pop cybernetic, you possibly get this skull bumped out, but then you're also dealing with this orange zealous recruit coming in. Or if you don't do that, if you actually go in with mind to engage, then next turn you are in a very perilous situation and relying on Boba Fett to bail you out, which he certainly can. I don't like the positioning on that as much though. That's going to be a problem.
Yeah, Boba Fett certainly has the ability to close out just about any game. He's really a monster. The issue is going to be whether you can finish the game up on points or not.
Right.
And so that's going to be largely a result of how much work he can get done before the Fangs whittle him down to the point that he doesn't have the ability to kill them fast enough.
Okay, so we see that this zealous recruit has just gone ahead and taken the bump, trying to disrupt some of the action efficiency here. Like we mentioned before, Boba Fett's not particularly bothered by that. If he gets bumped by this, it will be very interesting to see that if Tarani, ooh, now that's unfortunate.
Yeah, the two straight there out of the blue recruit, I think, was precipitated by the loose stabilizer crit, and he didn't want to take that extra damage. But here we see a situation where everything could potentially be out of his arc this round if Boba doesn't bump again, and he is out of the fight and will have to go straight again because he didn't get the action this turn to flip the loose stabilizer.
Right.
So that's another situation where you're just potentially giving up time on target, which against list with a lot of health is pretty much your most valuable resource.
And if he ends up being bumped against Boba, then Boba's just going to drop a bomb. I mean, there's no reason not to.
So here we see the cartel executioner barrel rolling back into giving himself a better arc on this gap between the clouds where the enemy ships are pouring through, but also puts him in the zealous recruit's arc. So that blue recruit, even though he bumped, will definitely have a shot regardless of whatever else happens, assuming that he survives the round.
Okay, so we've got not bad positioning here by the skull. Probably want to go ahead and boost in. I would think because right now you're sitting kind of in that danger zone with Tarani's bullseye. Boost
I,
in, take your focus.
I agree. I think you also want to kind of put your body in this wide open space to make sure Tehran.
Absolutely. Let's see if he jumps in.
Obviously, Gonzo's debating his move here. He could barrel roll, maybe. He could definitely boot.
Yeah, it looks like he's looking at those bullseyes and
I
working the calculus.
I don't hate the barrel roll either because that's
If it fits, if it fits.
the barrel. Oh yeah, that's true.
I think it fits, but it's a really tough call.
Oh, we see him take the focus and sit.
Ooh.
It turns out to be the right call for blocking as Tirani comes over with a 2 bank and runs right into him.
Yeah, I don't hate that.
Also lands him on the gas cloud, maybe by just a touch.
Let's take a
Let's
look.
see if they decide that that's the case.
Yes, it has. Looks like overlapped a minor obstacle token according to the smarter than the people playing it tabletop simulator computer.
There we go. And they make the roll, comes up hit. He will take a strain.
Ronnie is a decimator today.
Yeah, pro tip, Joel, if you have your chat open, it'll tell you.
Ooh.
Bowen makes a clean maneuver, getting that nice range 1 into the blue zealous recruit, and more than that, setting up for a bomb drop the following turn that he'll have no way to avoid. So not looking great for the blue zealous recruit this round, I'd say.
Okay.
Okay,
so that's just deciding on what flavor of punishment you want to dish out. So I mean, he's still in a good position to deal some damage to this zealous recruit, but now he's turning his bomb dropping potential to the Skull Squad.
The only problem there is what he might pick up with the cartel executioner the next round as well, because with those, see, it's a proximity. So that cartel executioner is going to be going before the Skull Squadron pilot, so he'd be forcing the cartel executioner to be turning away if he does decide to drop the.
That's true. Okay, and so it looks like we've got a 2 hard that came out of Finn. Nope, I'm sorry.
One hard.
It was a 1 hard.
All right, looks like we've got range 2 into either the blue recruit or the Skull Squatty coming out of Boba Fett. So he's going to go ahead and take the shot at the Skull Squad, try to soften up a second target. He potentially took that boost in order to lay the mine for the Skull Squatty, like you said. So trying to get him in kill range potentially. Pretty focused. Just has a single force to mod with this round, so that's got to be a disappointment.
And nothing at range 1 to reroll on.
Well, that kind of puts the kibosh there on the insta kill play with the mine.
Well, he still has the executioner shot, and the mine can deal crits, so it's certainly less likely, but it's not entirely off the table. Looks like he is still trying to decide whether or not he wants to spend that force this early with shots coming in. I think the issue here is how much do you want to risk Boba's health this early? Because he's definitely your end game point tank. So it looks like we have a shot from the Skull Squatty. I'm not sure who the target is. It'd be range 2 to Boba, range 3 to the Cartel Executioner. Either way, 2 green dice up defense. Two blanks, so that's going to be one hit going through. And that was on to Boba. It's like Tirani just barely manages to clip. The orange recruit range 2. That'll be a modless 3 dice into a modless 3 die. 2 focuses and a blank, no damage.
Gonzo declines to roll green dice out of disrespect.
So next up in the firing order would be the Cartel Executioner, who has a range 2 shot on the blue Zealous Recruit, range 3 on the Skull Squatty.
And one thing, it looks like we had a missed opportunity with the Skull Squad to use the focus to modify their attack.
I think he opted out of it
Because
because
he was concerned that he might
potentially
catch fire from the executioner. Okay.
Now that's
so
a hit crit.
very spicy. Only 1 block on the Zealous Recruit, or yeah, it was range 2 in the Zealous Recruit. So he's going to be taking another hit crit, which could potentially kill him. And it absolutely means that he can no longer afford to ignore the loose stabilizer, and will be forced into going straight next turn. So here we see the hit. Now, and here we have Zeke remembering to apply the ion token from Disabled Power Regulator.
And a direct hit. All right. So
dead recruit.
if you were the 7th chatter, then you get a free car wash from a place that doesn't have car washes.
So that blue recruit dies anyway.
I like the choice. It's like I'm not going to set off this loose stabilizer. I'm just going to take myself out of the game right now.
What a turnaround too here for Zeke, right? Gonzo, even with Finra out of position, Tarani take a bit of damage and then just turn around and just remove the blue for almost nothing in return.
And we still have 1 more shot coming up from the orange recruit into a decimator like Tarani Kolda. So we could still see some spite and hatred flying towards Zeke. Coming in at range 2. So that'll be 3 unopposed red dice.
Unopposed and unmodded, looks like.
The modification is that he has notice.
I mean, that's a pretty good modification when you get right down to it.
I guess he'll roll the 3rd one to say that he did, maybe? Oh.
Wondering how they're going to
how do you resolve this?
Resolve
that.
Yeah, it looks like Zeke is saying just re-roll that one.
Alright, so it looks like we're looking at 2 damage, which Tarani just takes to the face, which definitely puts him over half.
Yep. But with the loss of that first Zealous recruit, it does look like we're still points-wise in Zeke's favor.
Yes, can confirm. Gonzo so far has destroyed 26 points to Zeke's 41 destroyed. So Zeke is in the lead by 50.
Now, what's going to be really interesting here is that we identified the time in which to use the cybernetics for Tarani. That time has passed. So what does that ship look like as far as repositioning goes? I mean, do we have 4K? I'm actually not as familiar with the dial on the executioner.
That's all right. I've got the dial. Let's bring it up for the stream.
So to our color commentary, Stephen Ford.
Turnaround here for the Key Magilla is a 4K.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's definitely off the table. But
do it. Make us look like jerks.
But more importantly, he's got a disabled power regulator that's going to ionize him this turn. So he has to point his nose away from the edge of the board.
So a 1 bank towards this Zealous would do it. A 2 hard away from the Zealous would do it.
If we're really determined to burn that contraband, they do also have a red 1 heart available.
Yeah, that doesn't buy you a lot except getting shot.
But
Probably.
no, the only thing that gets you is spending the contraband cybernetics, right? If you really wanted to spend it this turn, you could.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, if you wanted to commit to stay still, right? We know that no, that doesn't track either, because both of these fangs are going to move before Tirani does.
Yes, yeah, it's not going to help you get a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tirani's in trouble.
So the other big question this turn is going to be: does Boba Fett drop a mine in the path of that Skull Squatty? Hoping to pick up some
kind of
extra.
in that same situation. I mean, you take a 1 hard with the cartel execution. Well, oh nope, you can't because he took stress.
But he's got contraband too.
That's true. It's just so handy.
Well, now we're finally in a position with Fen Rao where he is absolutely unthreatened, right? Like nothing is pointed at him. He can afford to come in, maybe with a 3 hard and focus boost to try to get back into the fight. But the question is, how much can he help, given how long he was away?
I mean, as long as he gets in, now he might have just a skirt his next turn, but like if he really starts getting into the scrum and threatening this cartel executioner, he's probably not going to put any pressure on Boba Fett in the next turn or two. But he's certainly got the ability to take the executioner out of the game. He's got Tirani's own problems down over here. So that's going to be a whole different thing. But he can absolutely balance the equation by taking the executioner out in a couple of turns.
Yeah, ultimately, Boba is going to continue to get fairly decent shots over the next couple of turns. He has the option of simply drifting on out of commander with one straight, and still have the back arc to shoot back in. But these Kimagillas are going to have to start making tough choices in order to continue to get shots. So we may see an opportunity, a window, if you will, for Gonzo's fangs to do the work necessary to catch back up and clear some more hull out before he falls too far behind.
Now, I'm also not a betting man at all. I wouldn't put any actual money that had any value on it, but there's a non-zero possibility that a 1 bank with that executioner does not hit a proximity mine.
Charlie, you referenced a betting man here. Well, let's hear it. Let's some bet. Does the pro down is the question? Yes.
Yes, I think the proxy goes down. I think that was the whole boost.
Yeah,
I think all 3 of us are all in on Team Proxy here.
It looks like Gonzo may be considering that proxy as that green Skull Squad dial is the only one he has yet to set.
Well, gentlemen, while he's looking over that dial, I know both of y'all are also playing in the League of Barons. How have y'all been doing so far now that we're in the middle of week 4?
Very well. I think the biggest one is having enough time to where I actually sit there and think about something that I want to fly, other than waiting until the last minute and being like, "Well, this looks good," and pulling it out of my list builder, something that I've flown 20 times.
I have not chosen a list before 5 minutes before my game yet. But it's been working out pretty well. Say what?
I said I'm glad we're all part of that decision making. That's me at quarter till or something, sitting there going, "Oh yeah, I'm playing today. Oh, I need a list."
Trying to take a tour of the different factions, maybe play with some ships that I don't actually own in real life, see if maybe they need to make an extra purchase or two once we get back to playing on the table. And
CIS?
I see that's the hang up though, is that I have been trying to go through all the different factions things that I might want to try out, and I just can't find a list I actually feel like would be fun to fly in CIA. It's been a big hang up.
You need a
Don't
teacher.
mess it up.
I will show you the ways of beat boop.
Well, I'm playing Steven this week, so it'd be a good week to try.
No, now.
That's right. That's the kind of negativity I miss and appreciate. So, speaking of things we're actually pay cash money for, when are one of y'all gonna run 7 Seeks?
One of us? I'm not.
Yes. Oh.
You don't have to pay cash money for that. You just go over to Andrew's house and pick up a couple extra Seeks.
All right, looks like we have a decision from Gonzo. We have a set dial for green. Looks like maybe he's... Oh, here we go. 4K out of the recruit.
Anticipating. I like this move. I like it. It's high risk, high reward.
Yeah, looking to catch Colda on the escape vector.
Oh yeah, this is good.
Well,
And even
I actually would argue the risk, because Colda trying to turn the other way will just run into you.
Yeah, and actually that's even good, because then he ends up ionized, pointed at the board edge.
Right?
Yeah,
That's perfect.
Right. The problem with that is that you can't capitalize with a reposition if you're on 4K. But like I said, I don't hate it. I am surprised that there has not been a bomb drop.
Yep, that proxy fooled us all.
And looking at that one straight out of that King Magilla, it would have been really close to whether or not it could have avoided it.
Yeah. Yeah, it would have had to have turned away in some capacity. Either the one bank would have been risky, or that one hard to clean. All right, looks like nobody was fearing the bomb today, and we have a straight maneuver out of the Fang.
Got a post in the chat here from Starlight Games saying table play everyone for TTS events. We all miss table play too, but here we are.
So just it's one of those things that I've talked to a lot of people who've been playing, and it's just there's a certain je ne sais quoi about playing at a physical table. I mean, obviously, like you're there in person and you can gab and talk and catch up on everything. I mean, you can do that a little bit in the digital realm. Yeah, it's just. I mean, you can't power pose in TTS for one. You can't. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
No, but you can flip the table and nobody gets hurt.
True. Nobody's model's broken. It's great. It's violence with zero.
Yeah, I am definitely missing the social aspect of going to a game night or going to a tournament, because we're playing these games. It's generally just two of us on a TTS table and hang out and all, but it's not the same as being able to talk smack across a couple of tables, those kinds of things.
Oh snap! We see Tirani trying to juke the pursuit, and he gets blocked. Gonna get ionized this turn, potentially flying himself off the board next round.
I think Gonzo did it, because I think once you do that one straight, you're committed, right? You can't barrel roll. You don't have that action.
Yeah.
You inevitably go off the board.
That's true. That's gonna be a kill right there.
So yeah, absolutely a kill either next turn or the one after that, and there are plenty of turns left in this game.
Yeah, about the only way that it doesn't happen is if Gonzo misjudges the distance to get out of that bump for the next maneuver and rebumps.
Right, yeah, Gonzo has to commit to clearing space in front of Tirani next turn to force.
Absolutely. You know what else I miss about physical tables? I miss my Monday peanuts and.
God.
Yeah, you roll dice better. You can't tell me I'm wrong.
Here we see the 3 turn coming out of Finn Rao, trying to get himself back into this.
All right, so
there's no, you can't hate it now though, right? Gonzo just takes a focus, boost in, Tarani's basically out of the fight. He's got two Fangs that'll each take a shot this turn. Finn will get a shot this turn. Next turn, he's in the game, and Tarani's out of it.
Yeah. At this point, I still feel like the leverage is probably in Zeke's corner, but it's not nearly as sure of a thing.
Well,
Yeah.
Boba's going to end up range 1 with no Concordia and just blasting that skull. So,
Right.
Yeah, so that's a problem for that skull. I think at this point the chemos longer to really contribute more than just being a distraction to the Fangs, because he's Gonzo's going to have the opportunity to just mop them up over the next couple of turns. So I think what we're looking at here is Boba really needing to put enough hurt on the Fangs so that he can clinch getting the lead in points before the end of the game. I'm
Right.
not certain that we're looking to actually clear all of the opposing ships at this point.
Yeah, I think a points victory is probably. Ooh, now
not
that's
to jump in here. Yeah, Finn roll crits on a range 3 obstructed shot.
Looks like he's gonna get one of those in.
Yeah, but this
At
was
least on shields.
yeah, this guy still had shields. He's fine. He needs to take damage.
Oh, but next turn it's gonna be spicy.
Yeah, we see. I like that barrel roll out of Fenn Rao. It leaves him a lot of room to maneuver next turn. He can even blast on in straight if he wants to. He has all the vectors open to him.
Looking at
That is
range
true.
1, the range 1 shot from Boba here.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's looking spicy.
The crit.
Spends the force. Does not have Concordia faced off to bail out the Skull Squatty, so just looking at 3 dice with a focus.
Which that could have been a worse roll.
Yeah, getting 2 evades out of that's still going to half you, though.
Yeah, so looking like a hit crit, making it through the Skull Squatty's defense. This could be enough to completely cripple the ship, or he could walk.
This is when you root for Stun Pilot, the crit.
Still haven't seen that crit do anything.
Blinded
don't
pilot.
care. Don't care.
It's, I mean, he'd like to be able to shoot stuff with a focus, but ultimately he gets to live.
Yeah.
The question is, I guess the question is, does he really get to live? Because I think that Proxmine drop might grab him.
Ooh.
Oh,
yeah.
That would be dirty here, just to drop a Proxmine right on him. The delayed inevitable Proxmine.
Here we go.
I think that's safe as houses to see that one catches him.
Speaking of inevitability, we see the second Ion token dropping on to Ronnie. And it looks like a range 3 shot from the Cartel Executioner onto the Orange Recruit.
And unless it's 3 crits to blanks, it's not going to matter. Actually, even if he destroys the ship, it doesn't matter.
Well, it doesn't save Tirani. But
right, that's what I'm saying.
At this point, yeah, all the points matter here. It's like a focus token gets rolled with the batch, and a perfectly balanced die cocked on nothing.
Oh man, that's happened so many times.
Physics is great until it's not.
Roll it.
There we go. And it decides to be a blank, so we're looking at blocking only the hit, and the crit comes through. Onto the Orange Recruit. Not necessarily giving up points on this shot, but if he does, that's a pretty big.
Direct hit, half points.
Oof.
That gulf widening.
Yeah. Finn's being asked to do a whole lot right now.
Yeah, just taking a look at the point totals right now, Zeke has now destroyed 86 to Gonzo's 26. That's got, he's got another 26 points or 25 points really with Tirani that is going to score, but that's still a bit of a climb.
You've got to ask yourself, do you even make any pretense whatsoever about going after the executioner? You've got to get those points off of Boa.
I'm not so sure. Well, it depends, right? Because if you can kill both of the Kimagillas, which is fairly easy to do, just without losing any more points, then that's how you win, right? It's
Right.
going to take. Assuming he doesn't do the bomb drop, he probably does the bomb drop right here and kill the Skull Squall. But assuming that doesn't happen, he's going to take another 2, maybe 3 turns to really get back into the fight, and you can use that time to mop up the chemos and potentially run away, winning on about 20 points or so. It's either that or you 100% go after Boba really, really hard and just hope you can kill him in 5 rounds, which is a tall order.
That's very tall.
I tell you, zooming in on that, on Boba and the skull, it's going to be real tight on whether or not a practice mine hits. I think it'll clip the back corner, but it's going to be close.
Now, the one thing that Finn has in this matchup is that it is not fearless Boba. So if he's getting these head-on engagements and everything like that, I mean, he's punching pretty good. But the big thing here is that time is of the essence.
Well, rounds, not times.
Right. Right.
I think I agree with Joel here in that you accept the inevitable Tirani death and try to get in on the other Kimagilla. That's 102 points. Obviously, if the skull goes down, 102 does not make up that difference because Zeke is already sitting at 86. So he's going to drop another 20 plus on that.
But you can, with Fenn Rau, you can burst into half point territory. So that's the path to victory. It's just that's a lot of ground to cover and then to gain it back on Boba, and you've got to do that in 5 rounds.
Yeah, that's a tall order.
Yeah.
Looks like we're having some dial issues.
Yep. So the tried and true realistic and use the fresh dials method is being employed.
I don't know if maybe Gonzo accidentally deleted his dials while getting rid of a token.
Any of my own dials.
Oh, that's the worst. When you around multiple objects and you got them all selected, but then you forget you got them all selected and you go do something on something else. It's so bad.
Yeah, Joel was watching my last week's match. How many times did I delete either a ship or a dial?
I think it was 3 in a row.
How do you do that?
I don't know.
Oh, your poor opponent.
Oh no! Like that game lasted 4 hours.
that is definitely the other downside to the online game is that using a round counter and just the accoutrement surrounding playing online, it's just naturally slower. Barring any mishaps or incidents, games certainly do take a lot longer.
True. So my win condition playing TTS is to finish my game before my wife gets home. I failed last week. So
Woo!
Yeah, it was an awkward conversation. So
yeah, because she's not coming in the door until what, 11 o'clock?
Oh no, it's closer to midnight.
Oh.
Yeah, and it was a work day. That was great.
Yeah, you can get up and go to work. Well, not go to work, but go back to your desk and work.
I have to go a whole 20 feet, man. Do you know the traffic? There's like 4 cats in the house.
So many toys in the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, Joel, let's go ahead and accept, right? Tirani's dead. Long live Tirani. let's go ahead and accept the skull dies here. Wow, hypothetical it. What is Gonzo doing climbing up against that?
Well, if the skull definitely dies here, then his only victory condition is kill the executioner and half Boba without losing any more point.
Now, would halving the executioner and halving Boba with Tarani dead would also get you there, I believe.
I mean, you're only going to pick up another 25 points off of halving the executioner, which is roughly what you'd lose from the Skull Squadron. So you might still have to kill Boba if you
Boba's
only half.
105 total.
So you get roughly 50 off of that.
You get 53 off a half on Boba.
That's not
quite
enough.
significant. But I don't know if it closes the gap.
No, it's close, but you're still down by 7-8 points.
So if you're
So
Zeke
the
here, do you
hook
just
now-
2-bank boost with Boba?
I think you definitely want to be getting around. Like I think with Zeke here, you are plopping down that mine. You are expecting it to finish the job, or you're plopping down the mine and hoping it finishes the job, but aren't certain it's going to do that, and so you go ahead and one hard up toward back down toward the bottom of the board.
So Joel, I actually, before you started saying that, I brought up the Fire Sprays dial for the stream.
Yeah.
Just to show the one hard on there, because I think you hard up back towards the orange guy. It probably, if the Skull Squadron lives, right, it nets you a rear arc shot with Boba anyways.
Yeah.
And you're set to turn back into orange coming off of clearing his stress.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the move. It gets you back potentially into combat a lot sooner because that orange recruit can't do the too hard to get between those two clouds because he'll just bump on Tarani and the Tarani will bump on him and then he'll lose to force Tarani off the board. So he's got to come off straight, which puts him down into the corner, which nets him right in Boba's waiting arms if he takes that one hard.
Yeah, if Boba takes that one hard and boosts, you're probably going to be looking right at a Zealots that did a 3 straight, and he's already at half. You could pop him that turn.
Yeah. So at that point, it becomes Finrao versus the world, and he would have to start a really hot streak in order to pull that back in 5 rounds.
Yeah, that's so few rounds to ask for so much. Okay, so it looks like we've got all of Gonzo set.
Zeke's as well.
Zeke is,
Yep.
yeah.
Looks like they are performing the bomb drop here.
Yep.
And he's going through the automatic bomb dropping tool.
Yep.
So he's going to go grab the appropriate bomb. So it's only sort of automatic.
I was actually about to say, I've never actually seen this done. I was
So
very curious.
you press the little widget. It gives you a template, and then you put. Yeah.
Yeah. So here we've got.
It just works. Like I said, this is.
And it does set it where it's supposed to go automatically, and it misses. The Skull Squad survives the round.
Ooh, look at how close it is. I'm going to zoom in here for the stream just because I can.
That's a strong 4 pixels right there.
Whew.
That
Zeke is waited one turn too long to drop that bomb.
That is definitely the opening that Gonzo needs to get back into this game.
Yeah, the Skull Squadron living there is a huge part of him still sticking around.
Yeah, I really like this 2 bank out of the orange Zealous. Gives him the opportunity to barrel roll in either direction around this cloud.
Yep.
Probably coming in order to set up a block in the Cartel Executioner.
I agree.
As Phil around and get a shot on it as well, which also prevents the earlier scenario we were listing of Boba in the ward. It basically takes that shot away.
Does he realize he hasn't cleared his chest?
Does it matter?
I mean, he's going to get it right back.
It would make me feel better. Come in, come in. Do it, do it.
Yeah, you really want. I think you really want to see that barrel roll in here from Gonzo.
Choose violence.
Looks like he is leaning in that direction, just waiting for him to click the button. There we go.
There we
All
go.
right.
Push the button, yes.
Right forward. Okay.
Not a lot of difference there. The right backwards was cut off by Tirani's base. It's like the one straight barely clears, though. No, this is terrible news.
Oh no!
Looks like that bullseye is going to clip him too, right in the front. Now he does still have the ability to use Concordia face-off, even though he's in the Cartel Executioner's bullseye. But that will give an opportunity for the use of Crackshot and to focus on the incoming forward dice. So that is not a good time for the Zealous Recruit.
Yeah, can absolutely confirm that is going to be in bullseye. Just can't hear for the stream.
Seeing it too hard out of the Skull Squad, trying to get away from this whole Boba situation.
Yeah, I think that's a good call on the too hard. Clears his stress, goes ahead and lets him do another one next turn, and right back in the fight on the Executioner. The Executioner, I guess.
I think for this round, maybe you just focus and sit still. You're not going to be able to reposition into a shot.
Right. I think any reposition is probably going to be in Finral's way.
Yeah, you want to leave that channel clear for Finral if he's doing a 3 straight or a 2 bank or something. Maybe there's a little discussion going on here between the players. So the focus action there for your Skull Squadron.
Let's see if he follows it up with a reposition.
I don't hate a reposition provided you don't block Finn, just because it makes it less likely Boba somehow gets a back arc shot on you.
I'd be really worried about that boost getting in Boba's way or in Finn's way.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm concerned about. Now, barrel roll back, especially if Boba did a 1. That could potentially get you out of trouble.
Gonzo's hovering over that boost button.
He wants it.
He wants it. Will he? Won't he? Will he? Won't he? Wait, now he's thinking about a barrel roll.
Now we're looking.
I love being able to see the player's thought process in real time as they go from button.
Yeah, seeing that hand hover.
Mm-hmm.
And the options open up below it, yeah.
All right. I don't like it as much as staying still because you get the option of the 1 hard the following turn, whereas now you're thrust into the 2 hard, which puts you farther away from the flight path of that Executioner.
Yeah. Well, that is on the ionized maneuver for Tirani. That confirms a dead Tirani next.
Yep.
Yeah. His only option here is to use the focus action, and that is simply not enough to keep him from going off the board next round.
I still think in this next round, you go ahead and pop Cybernetic just to make Gonzo a jerk.
Go ahead and take the disrespect 4K off the board.
With the action that you don't get because you're dead. Yep, there's the 1 hard.
I think that's right there is just a case of Zeke dialing in the best option for him in that turn with the proxy mine and the 1 hard, and Gonzo 1 diagnosing it, taking that 2 bank with the Orange Zealous, and then also maybe getting a little lucky there and avoiding that proxy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that proxy thing was a close shave for sure.
I mean, again, this is definitely one of those TTS is weird situations. But like, I'm sitting there being like, well, yeah, he's dropping a proxy mine, and it's the size of 3 cows because I have no idea what the size of proxy mine is in TTS. Like,
so here we see Zeke changing his dial with the use of Slave 1 and clipping the gas cloud. So that's going to guarantee that he takes the gas cloud next round as well.
That might set Gonzo up to turn on Boba next turn. I mean, if you can conceivably get the Orange Zealous past that proxy mine.
Oh, rolls a blank. Rolls a blank and avoids the strain this round. But yeah, if Finn decided to shoot straight up in here with a 3 straight and then gets to focus boost, we could see Boba take some extra damage. Nope, comes in with the 2 bank with the more sure target of the Cartel Executioner in front of him. So we could be looking at a boost focus here for a range 1 shot in Potentia.
I'm not certain that the boost is going to get him range 1.
Would be a near thing.
I gotta agree with Charlie. I don't know that the boost gets you there, especially since it has to be a straight boost. But I mean, there's no reason to not put it.
Actually, it doesn't have to be a straight boost. You could do the right bank and probably still catch back corner. But yeah, that's right on the edge. That might be range 2. Yeah, I think that's range 2.
We're gonna find out here in just a second.
Of course, I also just told you that a proximity mine was the size of 3 cows, which it is because I only say right things.
How big are your cows?
Very small.
Well into range 2.
He should totally shoot Tarani.
That was a terrible plan.
Tarani shot for disrespect.
I'm dismayed that he's thinking about
it. It is concerning, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like on Price is Right where you could win a new car, but it's like, no, I'm going to get what's in this box.
All right, looks like he is taking the range 2 shot. Rolls 2 hits and a focus. He's got nothing coming back at him, so he goes ahead and spins that focus. And the Executioner rolls a blank for taking 3 hits, which puts him at 4 damage total, not quite to half.
Yeah, but you've got to imagine if this second Zealous recruit doesn't get cleared, we're about to go over that threshold with violence.
I mean, at this point, Tarani dies. Provided Orange lives here and you get half on that Executioner, is it just free range onto Boba next turn?
I think you're still trying to clear the Executioner while you can.
Right.
Looks like we're now looking at the range 1 shot from the Executioner into the recruit. Rolls 2 hits and a focus. Spends his focus for 3. Not the worst. Could have been 4.
I mean, you still got a crack shot. You still got the bullseye effect. It's only got 2 hull.
Oh, no. Doesn't even have to crack shot this.
Yeah, the darkest
is
timeline.
Enough to let you die.
So he had that one amazing turn of all natties in the opening engagement, and now this is what happens when you have 3 agility and no shields.
Oh, and you can't spend your tokens, etc., etc. Crack shots.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the King of Gila helped. Let's not diminish this.
No, absolutely. Without crack shot, with basically he doesn't nab that bullseye, which he barely nabs, then that zealous recruit takes 1 damage and plasters him in return.
Yeah, puts him to half.
However, yeah, this Kimagillo is firmly in the nope zone now because Fenn Rao is just sniffing.
No, this is your time. Pop that contraband. Do that 4K.
I mean, yes. I like it. All right, but both of them are doing contraband 4Ks.
Yes. I mean, at this point in the game, Zeke has now destroyed 106 points to Gonzo's 26. Tack an inevitable, make it 51. 106 to 51 is a pretty strong lead with just a couple of rounds to go.
Yeah, actually, a strong contender for that executioner doing the 4K is the fact that if Fenn Rao just comes up straight, he's looking at another bullseye shot.
Mm-hmm.
And he still has that crack, which he was not forced to spend in the last round.
That is true.
Yeah, just rolling the camera around here. It does look like the 4K, provided Fenn Rao stays straight in hot pursuit, would produce the bullseye.
Now, I mean, there is that very real possibility that Fenn Rao gets range 1 and just puts 5 angry dice into a Kimagilla that rolls a blank like it. Of course, it's going to.
That can happen.
So 3 straight's about as fast as he can go. I don't think you're going to catch a medium base doing a 4K with a 3 straight and a boost.
Well, that gains you about half a base length, which might be enough to get ranked 1. It's pretty tight.
Yeah, I guess it might.
But the beauty of this, I mean, let's not discount the possibility. Like Fenn Rao can just very easily be like, well, what if I decide that I don't want to get crack shotted and use this? And he can just go ahead and barrel roll. Just accept the less ideal range 3 shot. And
No, absolutely.
so
yeah,
he doesn't have to play. Yeah, he's not locked into playing this stupid game. He can leave whenever he wants.
Of course, that's that horrible moment when you barrel roll, stay at range 2, and whoops, my dice.
Yeah. Now another problem here is that executioner is sitting 1 damage away from half, and you really need to pick up those points when you can. You've got the Skull Squatty that doesn't have any good options to turn in toward the Cartel Executioner. This barrel roll is really hurting him now. If he'd stayed where he was, he could do that 1 hard and be fine. He also wouldn't be stressed, so he could do a Talon roll if he felt like it. So there's not a lot
I don't dislike
for the Skull.
I don't dislike just taking a 2 bank to hide behind this cloud and fix Blinded Pilot. I mean, the only thing that the worst part about that is that it's another round down.
Right. I think that's the issue, is that if you're in a position of strength where you're up on points, or you have a bunch of other ships that are still doing their work, you can afford to take ships out for a a mental health turn, if you will. But this guy just doesn't have that luxury. He's got to be pulling his weight if Gonzo wants to get back into this game.
Right. Now, another possibility. Let me just get right on top of this thing. I was trying to see if a 2 hard might clear, but that's going to put him right on that cloud, I think.
Looking at the Skull Squad 2 harding.
Yeah. So you basically have Boba Fett is probably just going to do 2 hard, right?
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
go
1
ahead
or
and
2
get over
hard.
there. He has no reason not to.
Yeah, especially since he didn't pick up the strain from the first time he went over the cloud.
Yeah. So knowing that, and there's a much less probability that he would do like a 2 bank, or I mean, you could also do a 1 hard. I don't know. Like you
I
got
don't know.
this
He could just 4 straight over the whole thing. I mean,
sure. I mean,
when you're up on points, you fly where you want to, right?
Right. So you wake up from this bloodlust and you're like, I don't have to be here today. And it's like, I think I'm just gonna not be here today.
Yeah,
Well, I
but
think
let's be honest. We're putting Boba Fett in a great position. Dial in the too hard.
yeah, no, he wants to get back in there. He wants to turn this points victory into an annihilation victory. He's got the tools to be able to do it. He just needs to catch Finn Rao on one turn in a bad position to make it a reality.
Absolutely. That's another thing too with the 12 fixed round format is there's a lot of these games that are going to destruction.
Well, I need to play one of those. Every single one of mine is timed out. Oh, here we go with the Cybernetics 4K. You hear that, Steven? You need to kill all of my ships in less than 12 turns this week.
I'll think about it.
It's gonna
So
be hard.
what
Gonna be hard when
what
I'm
you're
running 8
saying-
droids.
What you're saying is I need to run Regent Jedi and run away.
That is what he's saying.
Yeah, I obviously we've talked about it. None of us have really figured out what we want to do until immediately before. Oof, 3 hard.
So
Okay.
he's coming out, does not clear the stress, but he puts himself potentially into a position to get back into the fight later. Tirani with the 2 hard that inevitably takes, or the 1 hard rather, that inevitably takes him off the board.
Shameful 1 hard, by the way. Like I said, you 4K and pop the cybernetics. Just do it anyways.
Yeah, you gotta disrespect 4K off the board there, right?
Yeah, it's a golden opportunity to say no. I'm going to set my own terms.
Here we see the 2 hard out of Boba, once again going over the cloud, but puts himself in a great flanking position, so he does not really care.
Yeah, I mean look at the Zealous, right? I mean you've got a Zealous at maybe a long range 2, probably range 3 that's stressed. You could just go ahead and take that thing off the board right here.
Absolutely. Rolling the focus on the gas cloud die, picking up a strain. If Finn Rao felt frisky and came in with a 2 hard, that's going to be a real nice shot for Finn. Coming in with the 3 straight, pursuing the cartel executioner.
Man, I saw blue on that maneuver there for a second, which I don't know what I expected it to be when he's stressed, but I got excited
Yeah.
that it was the 2 hard.
Now, this is actually a really, really bad position for Fenn to stay in, because he's looking at range 2 shots from both enemy ships in bullseye for the cartel executioner. Just none of that is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, facing down a crack shot. Probably won't have a green token anyways because Boba's going to shoot at you first. So, woof.
And the now you could boost in to face 1, but I still don't like that. That's not great.
Yeah, then you're just
So
looking
I-
at oof.
Do you just bank on dice variance and just go for the jugular and just hope that you get your good crits?
I mean,
Yeah,
if you do make range 100s, I think the boost maybe nabs range 1 here.
I don't think so. I think
You
it's
still don't think
out.
so?
I like Charlie
Yeah.
dropping the item peak though, Tim.
So at the very least, you need to make one of those shots not great. So either you need to barrel roll behind this cloud and just accept the range 2 from Boba and get out of bullseye for the executioner, or you need to boost. One of the two.
Actually,
Can't stay in both range 2s.
hang on. That might actually be range 1. I'm sitting over here doing like way too much JFK back into the left over here. Just
I think the straight boost just nabs range 1. So I think that's the call. You really need to lean into offensive variance here since you're so far behind. Because if you can weather the range 3 Boba shot.
He's hovering the barrel roll.
Oh, looking at the barrel roll, trying to nab
He
that.
had it on the boost. He had it on the boost. Now he's looking at that barrel roll. I don't
I
know
don't
about
like
this one.
So the barrel roll puts you in a really nasty spot because now you are threading the needle between this cloud and this prox mine next turn.
Oh, there it is.
I mean, I think the 2 hard clears that, but
yeah, you're fine. You're fine with the 2 hard. You could even potentially talon roll, but that would be a terrible idea. Oh, he's stressed anyway. But yeah, that executioner does not get a good shot on you this round. Boba still does, which is a problem. And then Boba gets to chase. Looking at range 2, obstructed into the Executioner out of Fen Rao. All you really need here is that one more damage for half points, and then you can switch targets to Boba if he's somewhere you can catch him.
Yeah, I think if you could get range 1 there, the boost in, try to wipe the Kimigil off the board, and then take that one range 3 shot from Boba. Ooh.
2 hits, 2 evades, no damage. This is turning into a net 0 turn or worse for Gonzo.
And I think in this position, you probably just go after the skull.
Oh, he's going into Fen. He senses that this is his turn to make it an annihilation victory. Spends the force for 2 hits. And Fen gets 3 dice for the range 2 shot.
Oof.
Rolls 1 and a blank, so 1 sneaks in. Still not giving up points, but inching closer.
So it looks like we're going to be seeing this return fire from Illa.
Yeah, range 2 obstructed.
So going through that cloud feels pretty good.
Yeah, so he did nab the defense that he wanted here. So that's the silver lining to this gas cloud. So 2 hits. Should be fairly easy to dodge with the cloud helping out. There we go. 3 natural evades. Where were you yesterday?
Yeah, he decided to roll only 3 with disrespect. So
Yeah. He just didn't want to roll 4 evades. That would embarrass Zeke.
true. Okay, so pretty safe that we're getting a 2 hard out of Finn here.
I agree. I don't see another option for him. Unfortunately, that's not a good option for him. Because
No, it's just prolonging at this point. And the problem here is that the skull also has poor positioning, and it would be nothing for the executioner to just go ahead and one bank, because he's just going to probably just try to eke out from behind this cloud, and you're probably going to catch bullseye on that.
Yeah, and what's more, that one bank either catches Fen on a 2 hard in or more likely blocks him, and then Boba can come up from behind.
Yeah.
Oof.
Now, another option for Fen here is to take a fast straight over the cloud.
That is true.
Which should keep him fairly safe this round. And if you do a 3 straight, you should end up just on the other side of the cloud without a stress and protected this round. The following turn, you'd have the option to do a 1 hard to get back into the fight up toward the top of the board.
But we're at 3 rounds remaining.
Yeah, so it's all about how many turns does Finn go without shooting here. And you got to try to figure out what the smallest number you can get out of this situation is.
Right. And for Boba, the calculus is you do a 1 bank, maybe a 2 bank.
Yeah, Zeke's Boba play here just needs to be conservative. He doesn't want to rush into anything. Which, I mean, even if he does rush into something, it will probably pay off because he'll just kill whatever's there. But you have, if you're in Zeke's position here, you have a solid lead. Something has to go really, really, really wrong to start losing points off of Boba, and so you don't open up the opportunity for that to happen.
Right.
So what do you do as Gonzo here to try to take it back in 3 turns? Is there a path to victory here? Because I think you have to, without losing any more points, you have to kill the cartel marauder and half Boba.
Right. So the thing here is you've got to make a play on the executioner, because that's really the only thing that you can focus fire on. Now the problem is if you do that, you are effectively giving away any offensive or defensive modification to do it, because one, you're either going to do a 1 hard and fence case where he's going to keep his stress. Same with the skull squad over here, or possibly a 2 bank to go ahead and do that. But either of these things, they're not going to have actions, and so you stand a pretty high chance if you don't clear that marauder or the executioner, you're going to get lit up. Boba is just going to eat. Like he does not care. Like he's going to hurt something really bad. So like you've got to on that point, you've got to make sure that you've got the kill box, but then you've also got to have a lot of variance leaning in your favor. And that's a really bad thing to ask when you're flying against Boba Fett.
Yeah, I really actually don't hate that 2 bank idea out of the skull squatting, because he's got blinded pilot. He is not going to be, getting offensive mods anyway, and so why not go ahead and fly through this gas cloud and have your front guides open for the following turn?
Absolutely.
Especially since he gets to fire before the cartel executioner.
Yeah. And he's even leaning in with his chin, saying, "Take your best shot."
Looks like we see a 3 straight coming out here, so he is clearing that cloud, clearing the stress, and essentially not even getting shot at this turn. So that is an excellent choice if he had a couple of more turns to capitalize on it, I think.
Right. So he's got the possibility if he picks up a target lock, which would be, I mean, okay, so we're not doing the target lock. That would have been the choice to do, because at that point you talon in, and then you're looking at something. I mean, you can still come in pretty easily with the 2 hard coming off of this, but it's just different.
Ooh. Boba on the 1 bank here, selling out on the Kimagilla block on Fenn Rau. What do you think, boy? Do you think he got him?
Yeah, I don't know. I think the 1 bank is great no matter what happens here, because it sets him up for a run on the skull squatty if Fenn slips the net here.
There's no commitment by that 1 bank. That was a good conservative move, and he doesn't have to really think. That's not going to be enough.
And the boost.
It's not enough.
Yeah. Looking to set up that rear arc shot, it's just not going to happen because Fenn's going to get to reposition off of this.
Yep.
And then if Fenn does get blocked up on the executioner, then Boba looks really sad.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, here we go with the 2 hard. Squeezing right in between that mine and that gas cloud.
Yeah. And let's take a look here.
Looks like there is no arc. Like that's
I would be inclined to say just out. Great opportunity here to take a target lock. The only problem is you can't immediately jump in and capitalize because of this prox mine here. Yeah. Now you could go ahead and lock on this executioner if you want to do that. But the other thing that's not so great about that is if you tell him the other way, then you're another 2 turns away from engagement. So unfortunately,
you know what I don't hate is doing just a barrel roll.
and then coming in with
a barrel roll back, and then next turn coming in with a 1 hard.
Or 1 hard, yeah.
And then getting to focus roll on in between the cloud and the prox mine again, and potentially catching the cartel executioner out.
That is probably the best move that he has available.
Oh, he's hovering. He's hovering. He's looking at it.
Actually, I think you just do a straight barrel roll. Don't even put any English on it.
You probably want to back up just so that the 1 heart makes the 1 heart a little tighter.
Well,
Yeah,
he does not. He does not back it up. He takes the straight.
Yeah, I'm concerned if you backed it up, you might not have enough real estate on the 1 hard to barrel roll back in and make it fit.
Oh, you think?
It starts getting a little tense now. Ooh.
Where did that stress come from? He didn't take a lock in anywhere, did he?
You can't lock roll.
I don't see a photo. Yeah, he can't even do that. So I do not see where that stress came from. I'm gonna go ask him.
You do that. Joel is asking. Here is the shot. Looks like it was range 2 obstruct. You got 2 hits showing for Boba.
Yeah.
Expecting a force spend coming in.
No reason not to. It's free real estate.
Well, is it coming in? Where is it?
There it goes.
There's the.
So he did do the focus.
Okay. Yeah, I don't like that. I mean,
That's too conservative because you know you're not getting shot by the time you do the barrel roll.
Yeah. So what do we got? We got 3 hits coming in.
Yep.
That's safe.
Yeah, that's safe.
Just
Gas cloud. When that gas cloud puts you over the noses you over the line.
And that's the only shot this round, so time hunts us all. 2 rounds. What can Gonzo do here?
Oof.
So I think he still actually has 3. I think they're flipping it over at the beginning of the round.
Okay.
Start. Yeah,
So
I'm pretty sure this is the beginning of the 9th round.
They're flipping these tokens European style.
Or 10th round.
Yeah, I can't count.
It's a common problem.
Yeah. So that stress that Fenn Rao took is that's problematic because you would think that with the 1 hard here, he has probably just enough space here to thread the needle to come back in. Now without it, it's basically a 2 bank. I think that's really the only realistic choice. You could do a 2 hard and then barrel roll out, but nothing is going to be an engagement move for Fenn Rao. That's what he needs.
I think at this point you might see Fenn Rao even 2 hard towards Zeke's board edge.
I mean,
it's not going to net you a shot or anything. It's just a way to position back.
Yeah, I think you just go ahead and come on in. Now, the calculus is simpler, but also probably fatalistic for Skull Squad here because I mean, a 1 hard here, he's not stressed. He can go ahead and do what he wants, knife back in. But the problem is, you're going to have Boba Fett probably doing a 1 bank right or a 1 hard right here. Just doesn't. And yeah, it's now
in this situation with the executioner, you're probably just going to go ahead and turn in on Finn. That seems like it's the most likely outcome, but I don't know. But yeah, that's a pretty tall order to climb over that many points, that little amount of rounds, and the positioning is not helping.
Yeah, I think right now Gonzo's looking at a mountain to climb.
Yeah, and unfortunately, even if you won hard over a cloud, it's not like a rock. So Boba just doesn't care.
Doesn't help you along the damage game.
Nah. I mean, you could see a situation to where if you got the 1v1 engagement here between the Skull Squad and Boba, and say Boba just goes ahead and gets his strain, whiffs, and then Skull just absolutely launches on him. I mean, in that situation, I mean it's incredibly unlikely, but there's a non-zero chance that Boba could go to half points. But that is everything going right for Gonzo and everything going wrong for Zeke.
I mean, it can happen. Skull is stressed in this turn.
Yeah.
But what happens if the Skull gets close enough to Boba that he threatens that engagement with Boba taking the one hard in? I think Boba just uses the title to take the one hard away and takes the back shot at him.
The free
That's
back
true.
shot.
And takes his mods too, so yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Boba.
Oh, there we go with that one hard. Coming in to threaten Fenn Rau.
Unfortunately, he's already gotten his cybernetics, so he doesn't get the action off of that. But I like this move. There's a pretty good possibility, especially if you did actually either the 2 bank or the 2 hard. That could be bullseye on Fenn.
Well, of course, Finn does get to reposition once he sees all this.
Right, but if you took the 2 hard, it's a lot more difficult to reposition out of that then.
I think he'll still have the boost, the left boost out of the 2 hard available to him. He might even be able to straight boost and not hit that mine.
Left boost, yeah. I don't know about the other one. Yeah.
But I think the play here with the Fang is to try to get a bank boost in for range 1 shot on the Executioner and then try to hug Boba as much as possible to turn on the ship ability.
Absolutely.
Well, I think again though, once you do that, you run into. I mean, you don't have a choice at this point. You run into the issue of Boba just slave ones away.
Yeah.
And instead of a range 1 Concordia, you get a range 2 back arc.
Yeah. But you can at least push Boba away from the engagement so the following turn he's drifting in the opposite direction.
I mean, that's
good for Zeke.
Yeah, you're at 3 European turns now. He doesn't care. He'll just go get a sandwich.
I mean, yeah, that would be all of Zeke's points drifting away from the fight.
Yeah, but ultimately here it dramatically improves his shot on the Executioner, which is what he needs.
Oh yeah, no, you definitely. There's no reason to not take the boost. That's for certain. It just there aren't necessarily great outcomes.
Yeah, and if he had that 1 hard available on Fenn Rau this round, he'd be able to take that barrel roll in and exchange range 1 shots with the Executioner.
Ooh, just kidding. You want a 3 Talon roll?
All right.
What is that? What is? I don't even know.
That's a Talon.
Yep, that is a Talon roll. Looks like that may run into the Skull Squatty.
Yeah. Now that would be a great outcome for Gonzo.
Yeah, absolutely. No consequences.
There it is.
Give Boba both the stress and the strain.
Maybe.
Possibly.
Yeah, show me potato salad on that strain.
Oh, no strain. He
Not that
has
you can
run.
really take advantage of it, but
but still stressed. So
yeah. Now
that,
this is a still strained Kimagilla with no mods. Whoa!
Oh, there we go. So the question is there a little pocket where he can barrel roll and be in neither arc? And I think the answer is yes.
yeah,
I
barrel
think
roll
so,
back.
yes.
Yeah, you got that.
Yeah, take the focus and barrel roll just to be sure.
I
Now
wouldn't
slap,
take the focus. Like, if you think that that's going to fit in the pocket, then don't focus.
slap
So
his
that-
hand before he grabs that focus.
Yeah.
No,
I'll
Gonzo,
focus.
no, not like this.
So, but I mean, if you're not confident that you're going to find the pocket, then you have to focus.
I mean, I still think you get too hard out of that, but no. Could have been a contender. Yeah, you get too hard out of that. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
too
yeah,
hard.
yeah, he can, for sure.
But now, does he land in Boba? No, he's out of that arc.
Yeah,
He's
so
fine.
he definitely found that pocket. So this is a great turn for Gonzo. He gets a range 1 shot into the Cartel Executioner for no shots in return. So let's just see what he can do with it.
I really like this follow-up turn for Gonzo going mano a mano against Boba. He does not hate that.
Yeah, you could wipe the Kimagilla off the board right here and still leave yourself 2 rounds to get half on Boba. That's not a
He's got to do 5 damage to kill the chemo.
crits are a thing.
True. But here's the thing. The chemo can't get away. He's stressed. If he doesn't kill him this turn, okay. You kill him next turn.
Yeah, leave yourself 2 rounds of hopefully Finn versus Boba.
Yeah.
I mean, if Boba really wants to go after that and leave himself to Fenn Rau, okay. Oh yeah, there we go.
Oh yeah, there it is. So we'll see a focus spend from the skull for 4 hits, and the Cartel Executioner is strained, so that will be 4 damage. So he'll be drifting off with 1. Oh no!
Illegal.
Judge.
Illegal.
Did Joel just go get him?
Yeah. All right, so we've got somebody in chat asking, Tarani's destroyed. That's correct. So Tarani decided that didn't want to play the game anymore.
I never zeroed Tarani out. It was so inevitable that I didn't put the damage.
Tarani lives on.
That changes the calculus a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
So right now, Zeke is sitting at 106 destroyed to Gonzo's 73. So Gonzo needs 34 points to take the lead. Obviously, killing what's left on the Executioner won't get you there, but you got
half points on Boba, which is extremely possible with Finn coming around so angry. And you're probably going to look at, so you got stress on Boba. You're probably going to look at a 1 bank and probably boosting in, trying to disrupt that. He doesn't want any part of that matchup.
Yeah, so at this point, if you can nab half on Boba and run away, then that is game.
Yeah.
For Gonzo.
My concern here is that exactly that. Like, he's going to use that medium base boost to chew up all this distance to where Fenn might not even be able to get his 2 bank off. Like, he could. It's within the realm of possibility that he could actually block that out. I'm again doing the whole JFK back into the left thing and trying to kind of imagine the 4 cows that a medium base is in Tabletop Simulator.
Your cows are very, very small.
I told you they're
small. They change sizes too very quickly.
No, 3 cows is the proximity mine. 4 cows is slave 1.
Yeah, but you can clearly see that a proxy mine and a medium base are basically the same size.
No, the difference is 1 cow.
Is a cow a measure of area or linear distance?
It's fluid volume.
Ew. See, now, I think y'all are both looking at this maybe from a single arc perspective, but Boba's got 2 arcs, so you could very easily just turn away
Yeah.
from Fenn and
Now,
stay at range and force hopefully a range 2 engagement back and forth with no Concordia.
remain stressed, and I do not see a stress token anywhere on Boba. So we may
that's
get
right.
an
I forgot
we
he-
may be looking at an unforced error here if Zeke doesn't remember that.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, you're gonna make him sit on that until he reveals his dial?
Yes.
Judge, that's predatory.
Hey, it's his responsibility to put the stress out there, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Look, that's what gets us the ratings.
Man, yeah, no, I'm zoomed in. We're doing a look around the Boba. There's no stress tokens there, so stay tuned, folks. We might see a very predatory ruling out of Joel incoming.
So we've got Epionic in the chat over here suggesting that qubits be used for our fantasy tabletop simulator measurement. I like it. It's taking it Old Testament over here.
Does anybody actually know how big a cubit is? Isn't that like 3
No.
hands by 3 hands or something like
It's
that?
it's like the distance from your shoulder to your fingertips or your elbow to your feet, something like that. Something to do with the arm, I think.
Like I used to know because of Raiders of the Lost Ark, but I don't anymore.
Elbow to your fingertips is like the old foot measure, like the old idea of like English foot or something like that.
Isn't a foot, like a foot?
No, because it's the English.
But I thought that was a hand, or is that just when it's a horse?
That's just when it's a horse. And
See,
a hand is just a
now we're all the way back to cows.
That's true.
No. We're not back to cows yet. We're just at skinny cows, which is a horse.
Skinny cows. Speaking of skinny cows, I think that I'd like a 2 bank out of the Skull Squadron here.
Oh,
Yeah.
most definitely. And you want to stick. Yeah. The Executioner doing a 2 hard staying stress, stick right on that.
Yeah. Cartel Executioner, sir, not going to pee in the next film.
Did you just go Rush Hour 2? Was that Rush Hour 2's ending on me?
That's Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
I know that. I'm trying to update your memes, sir.
Oh, here we go. 2 bank. Gonna have a nice juicy shot to finish off the Executioner.
Yeah.
So take that focus, sit still. You don't think you can fit a boost in there? Get cheesy.
No, I think you can fit the bank boost in there if you want it.
I think the bank boost is the right call because it sets you up for the 2 hard next turn.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
that's a good idea.
All right. Well, there's the focus press. Does Gonzo think he can fit it?
You think
I mean, honestly, it's range 1 either way here. I believe.
Yeah, it's good. Now, I will say, I mean, because you can do a 3 hard without taking the stress, and you've effectively got the same kind of. So it's not a big tragedy if he doesn't link in right here.
No, it's not the end of the world, but I do think that if you felt like you could fit a bank boost in there, the 2 hard coming back around puts you in a little tighter return.
Well, it's also the 2 hard back round puts you at an additional 45 degrees return that you can turn into a 90-degree gain with a second boost.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not sure what the debate is right now.
Hopefully, it's about whether or not Boba is stressed.
We'll
Hopefully,
find
is that
out.
what you're hoping for? I thought you were hoping to come down with 1,000 fire. With
Oh, there we go. Doesn't matter. He dialed in a blue. All saved. Okay, so it looks like there was no link from the Skull Squadron.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Sitting still here. Ooh, we might have a really juicy.
He wants it.
shot.
He wants it. But if Fenn comes in hard, does the 2 hard, the boost, exchanges range 1 shots, happens to not take damage off of Boba, but halves him instead, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And that's
So-
that's what we're about to see, that boost here, focus boost, and
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
little range 1.
Because
And
field
then-
gun.
Yeah. Finn's catching no smoke from this executioner. That guy is not long for this world.
Not sure what the
yeah, it looks like we're considering options on how to approach it with Fenrau.
I think he's
We always-
possibly considering whether it's a barrel roll that he links or if it's a boost.
Yeah, I think you nab range 1 either way.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of how you want to exit the engagement next turn. With the barrel roll, I think you're still going to be in arc of the executioner, so you're really depending on the
The
skull
Arch's gonna-
squadron. You don't think so?
the execution is gonna die.
No,
Yeah.
what I'm saying is you're depending on the skull squaddy to not blink out,
I mean, that's fair. I mean, it
Which
can
is-
happen.
which is not 100. It's not 100%. So. Oh, he wants the boost.
I think the boost is the right call just because it does clear that arc.
Yeah, it makes it
Boost feels-
100%.
Boost feels good. Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Ah, he's looking at it. Still looking at it. Doesn't
I'm thinking about
know.
it. Press the
Is he
button.
concerned that it's outside of range 1? That I mean, it's
Well, I
safe
mean,
as
it's
the
not
hell.
bad.
options here are boost or barrel roll. So it's just a matter of looking through the next couple of turns.
Yeah,
And the
There
there
it
it is.
is. Yeah. That is definitely range 1.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this is the even a god can bleed uppercut that we wanted from Gonzo.
Yeah. This is
And-
he can absolutely turn it all around this turn. It is all up to the dice now.
5 dice into a Boba that lost a shield earlier in the game.
Yep, he's got to do 4 damage to sneak in half points.
Easily
looking-
capable.
Looking at fearless and a focus, but he's gonna have to go all out in order to get this on a statistically average shot.
And this is where Concordia and Fearless is going to stack up against what Boba can do. And you're going to see the jousting differential.
Ooh.
There it is.
Oh,
That
that's
is
it.
that is 4 to
Spend
crit
it.
if he wants it.
Spend it.
I think you have to. I think you have to spend it.
Oh,
Here.
you have
Yep,
to.
There it
There
is.
it goes. All
There it
in,
is.
all.
Oh no, fearless.
Fearless.
Oh,
Fearless,
No!
fearless, fearless.
Oh! Fearless.
No.
Oh, not like this.
Too
No,
big,
this
but
is
Boba,
why
not
you
like
exist.
this.
Oh no.
Oh, and fearless is a May.
Oh god.
Oh. Brutal. Just
Oh.
brutal.
So that is all shields on Boba.
You hate to see that.
No, that's not even all shields on Boba because he rolled 2.
Yeah, no, that's just 2 shields off of
Just
Boba,
2.
yeah.
Oh, well, see, fearless wouldn't have nabbed him half anyway.
It would have at least put the shields down.
Yeah. So here's turn shot. Not shabby. 4 hits.
Not shabby, he
Strong,
says.
strong
That's
possibility of
brutal.
well,
Oh man.
yeah, that's half.
So it's definitely half. Not dead though, if he remembers face off. Let's see if face off is a May. It is not a May, so I'm ready to
It
pop
has
in.
to happen.
Yeah, I'm ready to pop in there.
Oh, now we're gonna get judgy. Okay.
Well, no, it's when mandatory things are skipped.
Don't forget to remind about Fearless too.
Mm.
All right, looks like they applied face
Oh,
off.
did they? Okay.
Yeah.
But
All right.
you know what Gonzo will never do in the history of his X-Wing playership from now on? He'll never forget Fearless.
Well, he might never watch the replay of this stream, and he'll never know.
Oh no. Well, that's why we bring them into the
That's-
interview box and
Ask them the difficult questions, like, so why didn't you roll Fearless? That seemed like a
Yeah.
good idea.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's
So-
range 2 on the Executioner.
Oh no. Well,
Without
it's
the-
still
without
it's
the
still a
boost.
decent shot.
Without the boost, you don't get the angle. Oh,
It's still a decent shot. He just has to roll 2 symbols to guarantee a kill. And there they are.
And that is.
All right.
Rolling the eyeball for the form of the thing and die.
Get our mandatory points in garbage time. Fantastic.
Oh, hole breach at the end.
All right. So
Ruptured
we're
like a
up
tin
there.
can.
So at the end of that round, so we are going into the final round here, right, boys? Final countdown.
Yep, looks like it.
So it's 142 for Zeke to 95 for Gonzo.
Yeah, that giving up the half points on Finn without getting half points on Boba in return. That's
Yep. Now half points on Boba still does it, I think.
Yes.
Because
Gonzo
you
is
get
48
50. What is that? 105 on Boba, so that's
53.
53.
Yes.
So
So you
you
would
end up-
get it if you could preserve points and get half back.
Yeah. So you only need to do 2 damage here. So we're looking at a 2 hard out of the Skull Squatty and whatever you can think to do with Fenn, because there's just no getting a shot here, I don't think.
I mean, the real
Right.
problem is Boba just has to bump the Skull Squatty, right?
absolutely. There's no reason
And-
that he has to play this game anymore.
Yeah, in fact, he might just 1 hard onto that cloud.
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
So to keep him from doing that, you might 2 hard towards the cloud with Fenn. But then you run the potential of
You just
just
run into
ending
him.
up behind him or running into him. But like Finn's got
Yeah,
nothing
yeah.
else good to do, right? Like he 1 hards or 2 hards towards the cloud. That's the only way that he can contribute.
I like that play.
Yeah,
Like
I
that's
think
the
he
only
won
play
hard
that you can make with
except-
Finn. That's the only play. You're not gonna get total destruction. So just go ahead and be as risky as you possibly can. Keep trying to find the uppercut.
Yeah, and that's only, I guess, if you, because this is a league where MOV matters, and so are you thinking I need self, for later in the series, or are you thinking, like, are you mathing everything out and you realize if I get 2 more damage on Boba and don't lose anything, I actually win?
Yeah. Now, I just for the anarchy's sake, I'd love to see hard turns out of basically everybody, and let's see Finral, half and Boba die for it, and then Hero Skull Squatty puts the final 2 damage on half.
I like this. This is a success story.
That would be a great way to finish this out.
Put that on ESPN Classic.
Well, Gonzo is considering dials. We've got Zeke's dial down, Finral's dial down. Thinking about that last dial for Gonzo.
And last round, go ahead and drop that mine too. Smoke them if you got.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
Yeah, yeah, what if
just
Finral just wanders off and dies to a mine?
Oh, that's real bad. Hey, look, I'm a genius. I love it.
The little auto method, you just drop it right on there.
Yep. So automation is nice. It looks like the Skull Squad is going to end up with a force this turn. It's quite the windfall for Gonzo.
He's
Oh,
evolved.
no, it didn't go. Oh, well. The scripting works.
Sometimes.
So I think you just sit there because the if you boost, you really run the potential of blocking Boba, which does nobody any good.
Right.
Oh, and there it is.
Okay.
But
Yep.
Bo was doing that one bank life. And so it is all up to Fenrow now. Did he do that one hard?
I don't think so. It's got the 2 hard written all over it.
Oh, nope. He straight
Oh,
out of there.
no.
Yeah.
No.
So that is game.
Yep.
It's
Yeah,
all down to the particulars now.
Just the format. Oh, the particulars. Bo's gonna roll 3 red dice at a 1 health Fenrow at range 2 with a reroll.
Yeah.
That's probably just points for.
Get out of there!
Fairly particular, yeah.
Get out of there! You don't have to be here.
No, Gonzo, it's wrong dial. No, no.
In a surprising turn of events, he gets a second wind.
Now is when you press the undo button.
Well, you press the undo button on the dial,
Yes.
not the table. The undo button on the table is a last resort. It breaks too many things.
Yep.
Of course, honestly, you don't actually have to put the skull squadron back. We both, everybody knows it bombed. It doesn't really
Yeah,
matter.
it's just a matter of, like, there's only one shot this round, and we're only deciding what the range is on that shot.
Huh. I like it.
Yeah, getting maximum range, no reason not to. And it is range 3.
Range 3.
So 3 dice with a reroll and a force. So effectively 3 hits coming in. Well,
Not like that, you aren't.
not with that attitude.
The 1 Boba reroll.
There it
All
is.
right, so looking at 2 hits.
Just need one of these to go through.
Yep, that's still easily enough if Fenrow just feels like dying.
He's
Sometimes
lost the
green
will
dice
to
are
live.
ready to go home.
He is safe. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The final score is 142 to 95, won by Ezekiel McBrayer. So let's go and see if we can't get them in for some final comments.
Yeah, go grab them.
Well, we're glad that everybody enjoyed the game. So thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks everybody for being here. Obviously, we got the interview coming in here with the victor and the loser.
Yep.
Provided
No,
they
the
want to talk.
correct term is victor and not the victor. Nobody's a loser. Everyone's a winner.
Oh, everyone's a winner here. All right.
Until you don't
Right up,
win.
ladies and gentlemen. Everybody's a winner in the League of Barons until the end of the game, and then you're a loser.
No, then you're just not the winner. You're either the winner or not the winner.
That's right.
Joel's back. Gonzo's
All
here.
right, Zeke and Gonzo.
Woohoo!
Hey.
Great game, guys.
Okay.
It
It did not feel like that. It felt like-
Gonzo politely disagrees.
yeah, it did not feel like that. Ugh. I mean, it's funny in retrospect, like looking back on it, so many bad choices. So I don't know. It felt like that choice.
Yeah, I think what we were seeing throughout the most of the game was that you were sacrificing opportunities to shoot a lot. Like first, it was with the group of generic fangs coming in on the flank and deciding to go to the opposite corner instead of turning in.
Yeah.
And then you had Fen turn completely away. The turn that Zeke turned in. And so you just had multiple times where you didn't get shots that could have clawed you back into the game.
Yeah. So I definitely played myself out of that, and I'll tell you the thought, which is obviously wrong. I just saw so much hole to chew through, so much hole, and railgun, which normally I'd be like, just send them in there and let's play Yahtzee, But in this case, it's almost like I outthought myself. Like, ooh, let me be clever and go around. That was dumb. That was wrong.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
dumb.
I was completely expecting the
turn.
fight in the middle, like at
Yeah.
turn 3 or 4. That's why I brought all of them in, and then had like 1-2 shots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was definitely like the first. The other thing was, by trying to save Finn, there was one round where it looked like I thought you were gonna just chase him down, just like so because I had him so far away, I burned so much time where Finn was ineffective, probably half the game at least. Uh,
Yeah.
which was basically 3 Fang fighters versus your entire list, and that's not a winning proposition. So it just felt like that. Um, Dice this time, Steven, I did not channel you this time. I think dice were very. I'd say they were pretty good overall. They weren't
Yeah,
terrible.
there were a couple turns, but
Yeah.
I mean, you had a couple turns on attack.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It seemed like it swung both ways. Average in the middle. I'm not complaining about that at all. This was if anything pilot error on my part, and my opponent very well. So hats off to that, by the way, because Mr. Zeke is
Thank
a
you.
strong player, strong player. We've met before in this arena of death.
A lot.
Yeah,
He's
Yeah,
always
I've
played.
got a question for you.
yeah. I'm sorry, I
Zeke?
didn't catch it.
Zeke, are you there?
Yeah,
Got a
yeah,
question.
yeah.
So the proxy mine, do you place it, do you not place it debate you had there for 2 turns? How does it feel to go from one turn where you could have just put it right on him to the next turn where you put it just next to him?
Well, so here the problem. So the problem is that I wasn't sure that I would have fit it that turn, and since my executioner was a 3, it was moving first. So if I dropped it the turn before, I move over and I just kill my executioner.
Yeah, we had guessed that you were just going to turn the executioner away and guaranteed mine, but yeah.
Yeah, it was close, but
Contraband the one hard.
yeah, but the Kimagilas have no their turnaround hard, and like a 1 hard would have missed the mine, but a 2 hard wouldn't. So it was just close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was not a simple decision. It was just it was awkward because all 3 of us bet on you placing the proxy mine, and then you did, and then we were like, well, he's got to put it down this turn because it just hits the skull, and then you put it down. I was like, oh no, that missed.
Oh my god, I know, it was so close. I was like, yeah, I got it this time.
Yeah, we looked at it, and so I had the top down view, and that when he put it down, so I caught on to the fact that it was like a hair away. I was like, oh, so close, so close. But yeah, I mean, it was a super fun game. Another thing is I played Boba Fett like 4 games, the last 4 games in a row, and Boba Fett and Fangs just those rerolls. He's so good. Boba Fett is just so good, and those rerolls are like that's like Fang poison because I want to be on top of you. So I'm giving you like 50 rerolls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's just and that's just how it is. It's just who knows? Maybe you've inspired me to do surely there's like a Boba Fangs list or something we can come up with.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, you
Yeah.
can run Boba and 2 Zealot pretty easily.
Or you could even run but ship list and go to town.
Oh, I don't
Yep.
know if I have the skill set for that, but okay.
Yeah. So I did want to come back around to the elephant in the room, and that was on that second to last turn where you were nose to nose, Finn and Boba, and you didn't
Oh,
use
no.
Fearless.
Oh yeah. I didn't.
Oh, we were all so sad. We were screaming at the screen, "Use Fearless! Use Fearless!"
Yeah, I always forget Fearless. I'm
Yeah.
like so good with Concordia, so good with all the others.
Thankfully, it didn't really matter. But
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
He would have been 1 away from half instead of 2 away from half.
Right.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, yeah. But overall, from a going forward perspective, oh my God, I missed that opportunity so much.
Yeah. But I do want to encourage you though. You fought your way back into that game. You were literally, if you had gotten one more shot on Boba, you could have won the game.
yeah.
Half on Boba wins you the game by something like 6 points.
I also would like to point out that I think I've flown more ships off the board intentionally and unintentionally than anybody else in Birmingham.
Oh, that ionizing Tarani off the board made me so happy.
The catering was so good.
I wasn't expecting the 4K.
Yeah.
So like that blocking, because I was like, okay, I'll 2 hard and then I'll 1 and then I'll come back in against Finn. You know, I'll die, but not. Yeah, no, it didn't work.
4Ks are good, man. 4Ks, I like it. I like it a lot.
The great thing about that is if you went the other direction too, that's fine. Like and then he just chases her down. So,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a good game though. Really good.
Yeah, it was definitely. I love games like this that it literally comes down to those last couple of rounds. You know that it could. There's that potential. There's just that feeling of potential of it could swing wildly. It was always it's always fun. Absolutely. Chandler was dying because he couldn't roll dice.
Oh no.
Bird like, what are you doing? I could hear him. You know, he's like, what are you doing? The computer, man. It's a computer.
All right. Well, Gonzo, thank you so much for coming on our stream tonight.
Glad to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Zeke, thank you so much for participating and congratulations on your win.
Thank you. Thank y'all for hosting this.
All righty. And so I am Joel Killingsworth. So it's good night from me. Good night from Charlie Hicks and Stephen Ford.
Well, hold on now. Before you sign off,
Whoa.
I'm going to say next week, Charlie's been on here commentating a lot. I think next week I want to see Charlie playing.
Oh,
I want to see that too. I'm in for that. I want to see it.
Throwing it down.
All right. Charlie on next week. You heard it here first.
Maybe.
Bring
Thanks,
the
guys.
decimators. Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody.
All right. Good night.
Good luck.